back of John F. Kennedy's head. Most of the witnesses at Dallas Parkland Hospital and Jackie Kennedy herself, who was the first witness, all said that they saw a huge hole in the rear of Kennedy's skull. In fact, the two brain specialists at Dallas Parkland Hospital, Drs. McClellan and Kemp Clark, both said that they lifted the head and saw a big gaping hole in the rear of Kennedy's skull. The problem is that in the House Select Committee report, it states that they acknowledge the fact that many witnesses in Dallas saw this huge gaping hole in the back of Kennedy's skull, but this huge gaping hole is not present in the contemporary pictures that we have of President Kennedy's corpse. So they stated that contrary to the doctors at Parkland, the doctors at Bethesda did not see this huge gaping hole, and therefore the doctors and Jackie Kennedy must have been wrong. So what are we to believe about these photographs? Because, of course, if the House Select Committee would have accepted the fact that over 40 people would not be lying about such an important event, they would have to strongly indicate the possibility that the bullet that killed President Kennedy did not come from the rear. It came from the front. Because, as any forensic doctor will tell you, it's wounds of exit that leave big gaping holes in the back of the skull, not wounds of entry. Therefore, this evidence, this rather explosive evidence, would indicate that the fatal wound to President Kennedy did not come from Lee Harvey Oswald and did not come from the Texas School Book Depository. It very much likely came from the front of President Kennedy, which would, of course, eliminate Lee Harvey Oswald as the alleged assassin.
It is not our business to discuss this with anyone outside this room.
As I recall, it was Admiral Kenny, the Surgeon General of the Navy. We were specifically told not to discuss the case.
Another problem that surfaced in the House Select Committee investigation was the location of both of the wounds. For instance, the House Select Committee moved the wound in the back of the head 4 inches upward. Dr. Humes, Pierre Fink, and Dr. Boswell, the 3 autopsists who performed the autopsy at Bethesda in November of 1963, had all maintained in the Warren Commission that the wound came in at the back of the skull, towards the bottom of the hairline. The problem with this, as I mentioned previously, is that the bullet fragments are at the top of the skull towards the front. So the House Select Committee moved this wound 4 inches of the back of the head to the top of the skull. Dr. Humes, before the House Select Committee, apparently changed his story and said that he was mistaken and it really did come in at the top of the skull. The problem is that when he was interviewed after the film JFK came out by JAMA, that is the official magazine of the American Medical Association, he again changed his mind, along with the other 2 autopsists, and said that the bullet came in at the bottom of the skull at the back. So now we have 2 official versions of where the fatal bullet that came in and killed President Kennedy actually entered. And it's 4 inches, the difference between the top and the bottom of the skull. Very difficult to believe that medical doctors who make a living off this could be that far mistaken. The other thing that the House Select Committee did was that they moved downward the bullet of entry in the back of Kennedy from the neck to the back. In a remarkable display, Dr. Michael Bodden, when testifying before the House Select Committee, even said that due to the so-called abrasion collar, that is the shape of the wound in the photographs in Kennedy's back, he and his medical panel had come to the conclusion that the bullet was probably entering at an upward trajectory when it hit his back. But remember, Lee Harvey Oswald is supposed to be firing from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. So how could the trajectory of this bullet be altered just by passing through air before it hit Kennedy's back?
This single bullet explanation is the foundation of the Warren Commission's claim of a lone assassin. And once you conclude the magic bullet could not create all 7 of those wounds, you have to conclude that there was a 4th shot and a second rifleman. And if there was a second rifleman, then by definition, there had to be a conspiracy.
One of the linchpins of the Warren Commission report is that, according to them, the Dallas police found a 6.5 Italian Mannlicher Carcano rifle, and next to it, 3 shells in close proximity to it, accounting for the 3 bullets that Lee Harvey Oswald allegedly fired from the 6th floor window with that rifle. Now, in the Warren Commission reconstruction of the bullet sequence, they said that one bullet missed, one bullet hit Kennedy in the back and proceeded through Conley, and another bullet hit Kennedy in the head, and this was the fatal bullet. The bullet that missed landed a block away, and it ricocheted off a curb, and it hit a bystander named James Tegg in the head. And there were reports of this, newspaper reports, and Tegg stated that there was blood on his face from this bullet ricochet. So it is necessary, absolutely necessary, to have 3 shells for 3 bullets. If you don't, either the Tegg hit didn't happen, or was not caused by Oswald, or the fatal bullet was not caused by Oswald, or the single bullet was not caused by Oswald. In one of the most spectacular discoveries in the new archives, a woman named Anna Maria Kunz-Walko has discovered several documentary reports from the Dallas Police Department in which, and it states, right in black and white, that there were not 3 shells found at the scene, that there were actually 2 shells found at the scene. And these reports are reproduced in Noel Twyman's book, Bloody Treason. Needless to say, if these reports are accurate, and they certainly appear to be, then the Warren Commission was fatally wrong, and there was a second assassin. Another conclusion that one can draw from these new documents is that someone either planted the extra shell at the 6th floor window, or even perhaps all 3 shells.